And Charlie helped me a lot too, and he said to me, you should go on TikTok. And it actually had, because we got record votes with the young voters, you know, for the election. So I was a little bit prejudiced in that way toward TikTok. It's very good. And I think I can say that especially the young people, they really wanted this to happen. They did not want to have TikTok close. And I got
Next, sir, we have an executive order on TikTok. From the first days of your administration, you've charged a team from your administration, led by Vice President Vance, with ensuring that we can preserve TikTok as a platform for the 170 million Americans who use it, while ensuring that their data is properly protected as required by law. With this executive order, you will be effectively bringing into effect the agreement that will save TikTok and ensure that it can operate safely and securely.
So this is interesting because I had a very good talk with President Xi, a lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok and he gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies, great ones, great investors, the biggest. You don't get bigger, I don't imagine. And maybe I'll have JD. JD was very much involved and in charge of it. And maybe I'll have you say a few words about the deal. He would report back, and the points of the deal, I think, are great for our country. So JD, do you want to give it a little talk, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so thank you, sir, for your leadership and for your help. We really couldn't have done this without the president actually ushering this deal over the finish line. There was some resistance on the Chinese side, but the fundamental thing that we wanted to accomplish is that we wanted to keep TikTok operating, but we also wanted to make sure that we protected Americans' data privacy as required by law, both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress. So we think that we were able to do that. Of course, we're going to keep on working at it, but this deal really does mean that Americans can use TikTok, but actually use it with more confidence than they had in the past, because their data is going to be secure and it's not going to be used as a propaganda weapon against our fellow citizens. We're very excited about it. We appreciate the cooperation of everybody involved, and it's a big day.
And I think I can say that especially the young people, they really wanted this to happen. They did not want to have TikTok close. And I got, you know, a little used to TikTok. I used it myself during the campaign, and it was very successful because you know how I did with the young voter. And Charlie helped me a lot too. And he said to me, you should go on TikTok. And it actually had, because we got record votes with the young voter, as you know, for the election. So I was a little bit prejudiced in that way toward TikTok. It was very good and very meaningful. But we have American investors taking it over, running it, highly sophisticated, including Larry Ellison. And Oracle, I guess, is going to play a very big role in terms of security, safety, and everything else. So we have very good controls. And literally, I would get a call from friends of mine who were fathers of young people saying, could you do me a favor? Could you get it approved, please? My son is driving me crazy. So we're getting it done, and they have a big audience, and we have great American investors. And here's your final copy. TikTok. You know, maybe if you want, we could take a couple of questions on TikTok, and then we're going to get onto something completely different. Okay? Yeah.
Mr. President,
Jeff?
Mr. Vice President, you mentioned that China was resistant. Can you describe where China is now? Are they fully on board with this?
They're
or
on
is
board.
there anything more?
I spoke with President Xi. We had a good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said, go ahead with it.
On the algorithm, it's still being leased coming from China. Are you satisfied that there's no security concerns for the
I am. I really am.
It would push disruptive.
The biggest reason is that it's owned by Americans. It's and very sophisticated Americans and people that love the country, and very smart Americans too. So they don't want anything like that to happen. Yes, please.
Thank you. Is there any operational relationship with Chinese entities or staff to execute the deal?
With who?
With the Chinese.
I don't think so. Not that I know. No, this is going to be American operated all the way. And great respect for President Xi, and I very much appreciate that he approved the deal, because to get it done properly, we really needed the support of China and the approval of China. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, now that Americans will have operational control, do you want to see the algorithm suggest more MAGA-related content prioritized?
I always like MAGA related. If I could, I'd make it 100% MAGA related. It's actually a good question, but I would, yeah, if I could make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you know the valuation? Do you know the American company is going to be valued in billions?
Well, they valued it very highly.
Do you know what it is?
They're paying a big number. Do you want to talk, Scott? Do you want to say something about value?
Well, I'll let the Vice
Okay,
President,
good.
and then
JD?
I can follow
And you'll
up.
say something.
Sure. Well, first of all, I would say all credit goes to the Secretary of the Treasury. Couldn't have got it done without Scott. Also couldn't have got it done without Sean Cooksey on my team, so thanks to them. The company will be valued around $14 billion. We actually think this is a good deal for investors, but ultimately the investors are going to make the determination about what they want to invest in and what they think is a proper value. The most important thing is that it does protect Americans' data security. It ensures TikTok is still accessible. And on this question of the algorithm, which we've heard this a lot, what this deal ensures is that the American entity and the American investors will actually control the algorithm. We don't want this used as a propaganda tool by any foreign government. We want to make sure that our people and our investors actually make these decisions based on what's good for their business as opposed to what's good for another government's propaganda arm. So that's what we've done with this deal. I think it's very good for the American people. And as the President said, young people love this. We actually want everybody to access this, whether they're MAGA or not. We just want it to be fair. We want it to be fair to everybody, and we think that's what's going to happen with this new arrangement.
Well, the U.S. government.
And just to follow up on the Vice President, there were two pieces to the transaction. The Vice President's office has worked since the spring for the commercial transaction between the investor groups, and then Treasury and a group including the Vice President's office were in Madrid 2 weeks ago to negotiate with the Chinese, and it was a result of President Trump's close relationship with Party Chair Xi that we were able to get this across the line. We created a framework for Party Chair Xi to agree, and then on the leaders' call, Xi and President Trump discussed the final arrangement. So it was 1-2. And that was the final piece.
Will the U.S. government get any kind of annual payment as a result of this deal?
Taxes. It's going to make money, and we're going to get a lot of money in taxes. And you know, China wanted to see this go. It's a great legacy for China, too. And, I thought President Xi was great in terms of his approval. We probably could have done it a different way, but it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been the same security at all, but I appreciated that he approved it.
So nothing aside from taxes, there's no part of the deal that is like a payment to the U.S. government?
Well, we're going to be announcing different things, but the U.S. comes out great. And I think China comes out great because they're going to have a very important legacy. And they have many other deals. You know, they have deals with us, and they have deals in here in this country. And, you know, they want to be treated fairly also.
So, Mr. President and Mr. Vice President, the U.S. company could change the algorithm to push different content? Is that...
The U.S. company will have control over how the algorithm pushes content to users, and that was a very important part of it. We thought it was necessary for the national security element of the law. We also just think it's important to protect American users. Again, we want users to use this platform the way they want to. We want the business to make decisions about content based on the interests of the business and based on the interests of the users, and that's what we think will happen with this new arrangement.
And they're paying a lot of money, and I think hopefully it's going to be a great deal. They're very sophisticated people. You'll see a list. Have you seen a list yet of the people? Well, you've been reading about it. I know Michael Dell's involved, and Rupert Murdoch's involved, and a lot of, and let's see, we have probably 4 or 5 absolutely world-class investors that love the country. They made a lot of money with the country, and many of them are in a somewhat related business, so it works out pretty well. And they're going to be very careful about all of these questions that you've been asking.
Who else beyond Dell and Murdoch?
Well, it's a blue chip group of investors, and we'll be announcing more about who exactly is involved in the deal in the days to come.
Oracle's playing a very big part.
That's right, sir.
And Oracle really understands this. And I think they're actually, and they've been involved for quite a while running it for the previous people. And So it's really, I think it's going to be very well protected. Very, very prestigious deal, actually.
On that point, Mr. President, as the President said, Oracle has actually had a role in housing the data for a long time, even when the entity was controlled by the ByteDance organization in China. So Oracle had a pretty interesting perspective on what was necessary to actually create true data privacy protections for Americans. They were a very important part of getting this thing done.
Mr. President, you told us a couple of weeks ago you thought that the security concerns were overrated, but were there legitimate concerns when it comes to safety?
From my standpoint, no, because the people that own it are, they're not China-centric, they're USA-centric, and they're very smart people. I guess you could say it about everything. Everything is what's secure nowadays. Things that you think are totally secure turn out to not to be. But I think in this case, it's going to be as secure as you can be because of the ownership and the people. And they have a big investment. It's to their advantage to make sure it's good and safe. Yeah.